Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. The High Court refuses states leave to appeal against the court's ruling on KABUSHI and KWACHA by-elections. 18-year-old juvenile accused of murdering both his parents in Salama Park appears in court. MKUSHI husband commits suicide after axing his wife. And in international news, locals in Cameroon accuse Chinese mining companies of land grabbing. And in sports, Zambia to open their campaign against Mauritius in the COSAFA Under-20. Details coming through after this commercial.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet television, not just another channel.
And now the main news in detail. 2 children in Kanyama compound in Lusaka are allegedly being neglected by their parents, who are known drunkards in the community, leaving them to fend for themselves through begging while the 2 parents spend their days and nights at bars. A human rights activist within the community, Francis Kamwena, who brought the matter to the attention of Camnet News, says one of the children, Violet Sakala, aged between 5 and 6, was on Wednesday 14 September 2022 beaten by a dog in the community due to roaming about aimlessly. Meanwhile, in a separate interview, non-governmental gender organizations coordinating council executive director Annie Anamela says the organization has taken interest in the matter and will help the children get the necessary help they need.
Alcohol abuse is on the rise in Zambia, according to the World Health Organization, with 76% of men and 33% of women estimated to be abusing alcohol. This vice has, however, led to 2 children of Kanyama constituency being neglected after their parents allegedly spent their days in bars, leaving the children roaming about begging for food. One of the children, identified as Violet Sakala, suspected to be around 6 years old, was on Wednesday 14 September 2022 beaten by a dog within the community as she was roaming about, and was only taken by well-wishers to a local clinic within the community. The said girl, along with her elder brother, suspected to be around 9 years old, were spotted by human rights activists within the community, Francis Kamwena, who says the children need urgent help.
I've just heard this child screaming outside behind my servant quarter. That's how I came out and tried to find out what's happening, and just to find that the dog has beaten this child. And then on the way, I tried to chase the dog. It was still following the child when she was lying down. That's how the dog ran away. Then I tried to go to see the owners of the dog. The owner of the dog, as the man, the owner of the house, didn't want to cooperate with me. I also tried to search for the child where she stays. She told me that the father and the mother, they are most of the time found in drinking places, so she can't know where they are.
Meanwhile, non-governmental gender organizations coordinating council NGOCC executive director Anne Anamela says the organization has taken interest in the matter.
As NGOCC, we take great interest in the plight of any child, and especially girl children that may be in an unsafe place. So what we would do is, working together with our member organizations that are experts in this field, try and see how we can come to the rescue of this girl in some way or the other. There are safe houses, There is also a possibility of connecting possibly to the Ministry of Community Development, because that also is part of their role. So we really have taken keen interest in this story and will be following it up.
We will continue to follow the story until the children get the necessary help. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A 36-year-old mother of 4 children from MKUSHI district admitted at the University Teaching Hospital in Lusaka has now become unconscious after her husband, now deceased, hit her with an axe on the head following a marital dispute. Carol Muma, a housewife of Tazara area, was referred to UTH from KABUSHI General Hospital last month after her husband, a teacher by profession, severely beat her with an axe and a hot iron bar, leaving her for dead before committing suicide the following day by drinking unknown poisonous substance. Doctors who have been attending to her have indicated that she underwent theater and that a portion of her skull was removed and will have to be replaced with a metal plate after 6 months.
Carol Muma of MKUSHI district has been admitted at the University Teaching Hospitals since August 12, 2022. She is in G12 female ward where she is nursing head and arm injuries as a result of being beaten by her husband on the fateful night of August 11 while at home. Her husband is believed to have used an axe and a hot iron bar to inflict her with life-threatening injuries. She had been asking why her husband had not come to visit her from the time she was admitted before she stopped speaking. On the advice of medical personnel, she has not been told that her husband, Charles Wamunyima, who had been working as a teacher at Tazara Primary School, had committed suicide after beating his wife, fearing that she had died. His body was discovered in the bush a day later after he allegedly consumed an unknown poisonous substance. Luckily, she survived the brutal attack with broken fingers, sliced ear and a crushed skull. Her cousin traveled from Luano district to be beside her, but only has scanty information on what transpired.
Okay, they used to have misunderstanding as just the husband and the wife. Then from there we didn't know what inspired for them to reach that extent. The injury is very deep. Yesterday I was told that one of the bone was removed from the head, yes. The hand, I was told that these fingers were cut, so they are trying to see if they will join. If it has failed, then they had to put the metals.
Her doctors are not sure if she will ever lead a normal life again following head surgery where a cracked bone was removed. UTH Public Relations Manager Natalie Mashikolo has been briefed by medical personnel that their patient will recover in time following the extent of her injuries.
The story behind her is that she was actually a victim of GBV, gender-based violence, and she was actually beaten by her husband after an argument. And in the process of her being beaten, she was actually being beaten with an axe. And the story, what we have on the ground from the family, that she was being beaten from 05 up to 19 hours. And after he hit her in the head, and then he also hit one of her ears, and it had a little, it like came out a bit, but the doctors managed to sew it back. And then she fell to the ground. When she fell to the ground, he also got a hot iron bar and actually pushed it on her left arm. And she lost consciousness, she lost a lot of blood, and after that he ran away, went to the bush, and the following day they found that he had died because he consumed some poisonous substance.
The ugly head of gender-based violence has continued to rear its ugly head despite several campaigns and sensitization messages. Many a women have been suffering in silence at the merciless and brutal hands of their husbands, and this strange phenomenon has led to deaths. Zambia Police GBV statistics indicates that a total of 7,589 cases of GBV were reported countrywide in the second quarter of 2022 compared to 6,148 GBV cases reported in the second quarter of 2021. Tito Kalama, Camnet News.
Civil society organizations and political parties have expressed optimism of having a better Public Order Act that is responsive to the needs of the people. Speaking on the sidelines of a two-day national stakeholders validation meeting on the review of the Public Order Act at MKUSHI International Conference Center in Lusaka Thursday, Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyarenda says the meeting provides an opportunity for the people of Zambia to give life the doctrines and principles as espoused in the Bill of Rights in Article. And New Heritage Party Deputy Secretary General Edwin Zulu says the matter also affords the people an opportunity to do away with archaic laws that seem to favor the party in power. He cited the law that prohibits opposition political parties to conduct campaigns in an area where the head of state and his vice are visiting that has continued to disadvantage political players. The Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security has organized the review of the Public Order Act with the Zambia Law Development Commission following a recent stakeholders consultative meeting on the Public Order Act.
The moment the country has been given an opportunity to revise and reform and finally repeal and replace the Public Order Act. We have seen that we've had problems with the status quo. The current Public Order Act is problematic. It has seen a number of stakeholders not really doing what they are supposed to be doing in terms of building the democratic credentials of the country, because the implementation of the Public Order Act was actually absurd. It was upside down, it was pathetic, and it was just favoring the party in power. But we have been given this opportunity as a people to be able to ensure that we have a better law that is going to help us facilitate our freedoms and rights as espoused in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, in Article 20 and Article 21. So for the very first time, I think we are seeing unprecedented commitment and political will in terms of ensuring that this Public Order Act is given a new face. And I think we have seen that the President himself has spoken to this matter severally. We have the minister that came to open the national stakeholders consultative meeting that we had, and it was very well done, and the commitment was given. And today we have the permanent secretary who came to open, and I think that is political will that is immeasurable, and I think we are heading somewhere.
There's one problem that the previous, or the one that is there, the Public Order Act, is that once the president or the vice president is in an area, maybe for 2 days or 3 days, the opposition do not campaign, are not allowed to campaign, because the law says once the president and vice president is in that area, you cease to freely campaign. You have to wait until he goes away, so to speak. And that was the problem that we had even in the 2021 elections. And even now, I think you saw it in Kitwe, where the vice president and the president went there for, is it 4, 8 or 10 days? And so the opposition were not able to campaign freely. And this is why one candidate withdrew and gave the reason that he had no chance to campaign because the president and the vice president were in that area. So he could not find time, opportunity to campaign, so to speak. He had to wait for them. And so if you do not campaign, it means you lose time. You lose the voters that want to vote for you, because they only listen to the president or vice president or any other candidate that stands in that area. Of course, we know that the president and vice president were supporting their candidates, their candidate that stood in KWACHA and KABUSHI constituency, so to speak. So going forward, we want the new Public Order Act, the new Public Gatherings Act to accommodate us so that there's a level playing field.
The Lusaka High Court has dismissed the state's application, which was asking it to stay the execution of its ruling of suspending the by-elections scheduled for Thursday, 15 September 2022, as the state intends to appeal against the said ruling. According to an application that was earlier filed in court, government submitted that the court stays the execution of the ruling it gave on the 13th of September 2022, in which it granted former KABUSHI Member of Parliament Boma Lusambo and his counterpart, former KWACHA Member of Parliament Joseph Malangi, their application to suspend the by-elections in the two respective constituencies. Meanwhile, the court has also declined the state's application to refer the matter to the Constitutional Court for determination of constitutional questions. The court is expected to commence hearing the petition tomorrow, where the two former members of Parliament are challenging the decision by the Electoral Commission of Zambia to reject their nomination papers on the 25th of August 2022. The two also want the court to order ECZ hold fresh nominations.
The government doesn't want the court to continue the case, and they also don't want the elections to go on. So in refusing to give them what they wanted, the court has said the time frame for determining these matters is 21 days. And this 21 days is ending on the 20th. And today being the 15th, they only have 5 days to finish off the case. So the court has ordered that tomorrow at 9 hours we come and hear the main case, and then they will deliver the judgment. As you can see, the government is not decided. On one hand, they want to go to the Court of Appeal. In the same case, they want to go to the Con Court. In the same case, so it's embarrassing that even having lost the number of applications, this is application number 7 now. They've now lost the 7th application, but they're still flooding applications. And what is most embarrassing is that they are filing and not giving us the documents. We are just surprised when you're in court, then you find government has brought an application they filed yesterday at night. So we wish to state that the position as it stands is that the main case, the main petition will be heard tomorrow and judgment will be delivered on Monday. The issue that is before the court now is that the election be stopped, which we managed to do. They should have been voting today. The next thing that comes up now is when will the elections be held? So ECZ must now tell us when the elections will be held. So once the court is done with this matter, of course we will have to be told when the nominations will be done, so that Honorable Sambo and Honorable Malangi can file in their nomination.
Former Lusaka Province Minister Boma Lusambo's sister-in-law, Patience Manasseh, has pleaded not guilty before the Lusaka Magistrate Court. The 29-year-old student is facing 7 counts of forgery and uttering false documents contrary to Section 344 and 352 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. When the matter came before Magistrate Irene Washimanga Thursday morning, the accused denied all the allegations.
Arrested on the 5th of September 2022, Patience Manasseh, the sister-in-law to former Lusaka Province Minister Boma Lusambo, made her first court appearance before Lusaka Magistrate Irene Washimanga Thursday morning. Ms. Manasseh has been slapped with 7 different charges, among them making a document without authority, uttering a false document, and obtaining pecuniary advantage by false pretenses. Charges which she has denied before court this morning. However, after pleading guilty to the said allegations, the accused, who is currently on police bond, had a difficult time leaving the courtroom after taking a plea for fear of being filmed by journalists. Instead used an exit made for inmates who have neither been granted bail or bond, with the help from one of the female officers. According to court records, Ms. Manasseh, a student, is alleged to have forged a grade 12 school certificate and allegedly used it to gain a self-employment at ZESCO between the period of 2016 and 2019 as an assistant call center agent and an assistant customer care officer, and did obtain pecuniary advantage in the form of salaries and allowances amounting to 429,972 kwacha, 68 ngwe. In the other count, the accused allegedly uttered the said forged grade 12 school certificate to the University of Zambia. The charge of obtaining pecuniary advantage by false pretenses that the state accuses her of is contrary to Section 309A(1) of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, while the charge of making a document without authority is contrary to Section 335(6)(a), and uttering a false document is contrary to Section 352. She is expected to appear before court again on the 26th of October 2022 for commencement of trial. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, the body of late Bishop Jean Chama, a major contributor to the commemoration of Zambia's declaration as a Christian nation, has finally been put to rest at Lusaka's Lopez Hill Memorial Park Thursday after her passing on Monday, 12 September 2022. Celebrants who attended the burial service, among them renowned politician and clergyman Nevis Mumba, says there is need to find a special way of honoring and remembering those who helped Zambia rise to the Christian status it has today. The burial service was attended by prominent leaders who have described the late bishop as a gallant soldier of the Christian faith.
On behalf of the nation, I have now entered into a covenant, Lord, with the living God, and therefore I want to make the following declaration. I declare today that I submit myself as President to the Lordship of Jesus Christ.
Hallelujah.
I likewise submit the government and the entire nation of Zambia to the Lordship of Jesus Christ. Amen. I further declare that Zambia is a Christian nation.
Zambia has since its declaration as a Christian nation in 1991 been guided by biblical morals, with many stakeholders in the Christian circles stating that this has helped the country to maintain peace. The era of those who helped the country arrive at this status is slowly passing away in the line of then-President Dr. Frederick Chiluba, who declared this status, with cause being that the country's Christianity should however remain intact. Another gallant heroine of the faith, Bishop Jean Chama, who helped the country rise to status as a Christian nation, has finally been put to rest Thursday afternoon after passing on 12 September 2022, aged 70. Celebrants who attended her burial at Lepers Hill Memorial Park in Lusaka, among them renowned clergyman and politician Dr. Nevis Mumba, said that those who helped the country to arrive at its Christian status must be honored.
But we would like to encourage the church that we must have a way in which always to remember and honor those that have helped us bring Zambia where she is, to be declared a Christian nation. It's on the shoulders of people like the late Bishop Jean Chama that Zambia today celebrates herself as a Christian nation. She was in the very forefront of ensuring that our country could reach the place that it has reached. But we say to all the leaders of the church here today and all the Christians, let's continue to honor those that God has raised amongst us, on whose shoulders we are now enjoying a Christian heritage in our country.
Others, among them Bishop Edgar Ngambi of Praise Christian Center, along with his wife Prophetess Isabel Ngambi, also added the word.
She delivered the word with great conviction. That was how God knit us together. And from the time we came back from there, we began to relate. And we've been together ever since. Standing together for one purpose, serving the Lord, preaching the gospel. It's been wonderful. A great woman of God. She's gone to be with the Lord, but she has sown many seeds. And those seeds fell on good soil and will bring forth much fruit in our family and in the church, and the fruit will remain.
She was such a great woman who loved to pray for this nation. I know during her last times that we prayed for Zambia to continue being a Christian nation. Really, Zambia is our country. And that declaration, Zambia being a Christian nation, it means a lot. A lot of people are arguing because people are not Christians. But as we speak it, people are going to become Christians.
Meanwhile, another celebrant, Pastor Lizzie Mbuzi, says it is the duty of all Zambians to uphold the country's Christian status.
I would like to just thank God for the opportunity that He gave to me and others to be present the very day that Zambia was being declared a Christian nation at State House. In fact, I was privileged to carry a fruit basket, which I presented to President Chiluba, our late president. May his soul rest in peace. So this, we need to enhance this declaration. We need to build on it. We should not let it die, because it's a God thing. And Zambia should honor even our president, who honored God by declaring Zambia a Christian nation.
Also present among various leaders were Pastor Moses and Victoria Chiluba of Healing Word Ministries International. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
18-year-old boy accused of murdering both his parents in cold blood last month has made his court appearance before the Lusaka Magistrate Court. The juvenile of Lusaka's Salama Park area is facing 2 counts of murder contrary to Section 200 of the Penal Code Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. He is alleged of killing his mother, 52-year-old Alfonsina Mwakachela, and his father, 53-year-old Nathaniel Mwakachela, on the 6th of August 2022.
After being accused of murdering both his parents last month in cold blood, an 18-year-old juvenile of Lusaka's Salama Park area has appeared before the Lusaka Subordinate Court to answer to murder allegation charges that he has been slapped with. The juvenile was first reported to be 19 years old of age when the alleged murder occurred. However, according to court records seen Thursday morning, the boy is said to be 18 years old of age. The court has also not explained to him the 2 counts of murder charges, as it awaits a social welfare report before it can proceed, considering the fact that he is a juvenile offender. According to a recent statement issued by the police, the juvenile offender on the 6th of August 2022 killed his 53-year-old father, Nathaniel Mwakachela, and his 52-year-old mother, Alfonsina Mwakachela. The juvenile, who is said to be the firstborn son, is alleged to have had an argument with his parents as they were trying to take him to a rehabilitation center, as it is alleged that he was abusing drugs. But on the night of the 5th of August 2022, when they went to bed, little did they know that it was going to be their last. It is also alleged that the said juvenile offender locked the bedroom of his younger sister when he alleged committed the act, and when she woke up, managed to open the said bedroom door. She questioned him on their parents' whereabouts. Further, the police statement discloses that the juvenile offender is alleged to have communicated to his young sister using a piece of paper that the deceased had died of COVID-19. The bodies of the victim are alleged to have been found wrapped in a blanket and tied on each end with wires. The matter comes up on the 20th of September 2022. The juvenile offender remains in custody as the offense he is facing before court is non-bailable or bondable. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Stakeholders have weighed in of the status on the country's democracy 31 years since embracing multipartism in 1991. In an interview with Camnet News, a Southern African Center for Constructive Resolution of Disputes so-called Executive Director Boniface Chembe says there is need for Zambia to embrace modern democratic tenets to fully enjoy its democracy by slowly phasing out oppressive tenets that do not favor the majority. He was speaking in line with the commemoration of the International Day of Democracy, which falls on the 15th of September of every year, with the theme for 2022 being Importance of Media Freedom to Democracy, Peace, and Delivering on the Sustainable Development Goals.
Democracy is a widely embraced governance system around the world, as it allows the will of the majority people to prevail, choosing their leaders through a voting system. With Zambia, which embraced multi-party politics in 1991, joining the rest of the world in commemorating International Democracy Day every 15 September, some civil society organizations spoken to have weighed in on the status of Zambia's democracy. In an interview, Southern African Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes SACOD Executive Director Boniface Chembe says Zambia needs to be in tandem with modern democratic tenets. In a separate interview, Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection Executive Director Alex Muyembe says while vices like cadarism have reduced in the country, access to justice is still a challenge in Zambia.
What is key is to always ensure that our democracy is progressive and that there are major strides in the efforts to better the manner in which our democracy is administered, especially when it comes to the people of the country. And one key issue is to ensure that the laws that have a fundamental bearing on the quality of democracy are reformed. This is why as SACOD we are happy that the Public Order Act is finally almost being reformed, and we are almost in the process of having a new piece of legislation in place. When you talk about elections or by-elections, one of the critical pieces of legislation that is fundamental to freedoms of association and assembly is the Public Order Act. And if we don't have a piece of legislation that is receptive to the needs as well as the wishes of the people of Zambia, then you compromise on the quality of democracy.
JCTR would like to call on government to release a clear roadmap for the people-driven constitutional reforms and legislative reforms aimed at enhancing access to justice and improving the justice delivery system in Zambia.
Political stakeholders have also weighed in on the status of Zambia's democracy, among them Republican Progressive Party Acting President Kesha Sakapelwa and Zambians United for Sustainable Development President Lazarus Chisela.
And we are now at a stage where at least the Zambians are proud that institutions are supposed to run as they should. This is a good gesture for good leadership of this country. So I think I want to applaud the New Dawn government for having presided upon the institutions and guided that the institutions are mandated to run independently, compared to as it were where institutions there could be an invisible hand trying to control the system.
How do we look at our international democracy? How do we relate? How do we relate? Do we relate based on common sense? Or do we relate on scientifically proven principles? What I mean is that our democracy, our international democracy, looking at, from where we are in our small community as Central Africa, should be based and should be driven based on the benefits of this democracy.
The 2022 International Day of Democracy is being commemorated under the theme, Importance of Media Freedom to Democracy, Peace, and Delivering on the Sustainable Development Goals. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Mombwa Central Member of Parliament Credo Nanjoa says government will ensure whenever possible it fulfills its promises both at national and constituency level. Speaking when he handed over an electric boat to Nambala Secondary grant-aided school being run by the United Church of Zambia in Mombwa, Mr. Nanjoa says the boat that was purchased at a total cost of 70,000 kwacha is aimed at supporting the academic performance of the pupils at the school. The lawmaker has announced that through the Constituency Development Fund, the committee has agreed to purchase 1,000 desks which will be shared among needy schools with hope of purchasing 3,000 more desks in the 2023 CDF allocation. Meanwhile, Nambala's school head teacher says the school, which houses 424 pupils, is grateful for the gesture, expressing hope that the leadership in place will help alleviate most of the challenges the school is facing, such as inadequate boarding space for girls at the school.
This is Nambala Secondary School in Mumbwa District, 20 kilometers from the town's central business district. With a population of 424 pupils, both male and female have several challenges, among them inadequate boarding facilities, especially for the girls, which has forced some pupils renting or squatting in nearby houses. While the pupils at the school seem civilized, unfortunately they still use unconventional methods of cooking, using firewoods daily, resulting in delayed meal preparation and greatly contributing to deforestation. To appreciate some of the challenges, Area Member of Parliament Credo Nanjua Thursday donated an electric pot valued at 70,000 kwacha aimed at cushioning the challenges of food preparation.
Even the other things that we have mentioned that we were going to do, it's the resources at times that let us down. But the commitment is always there. We want to see our roads being done. We want to see water provisions in the constituency. But at times you find the resources probably have let us down. We are very grateful to be here this morning, as we promised that we may mitigate the challenge of having our children using our old methods of cooking, using firewood. You can imagine the idea of going to fetch for firewood, to start preparing. It affects the learners. So, since it's something that is manageable, I thought that instead of the school looking for that 50,000 kwacha, I should justify my 70,000 kwacha and buy.
The lawmaker also took time to assure the school and those in attendance at the event that government will respond to the challenges the area is facing holistically in areas of health and education, among other sectors.
Under the Constituency Development Fund, I can inform you that in this current allocation we have approved to procure 1,000 desks that we want to give across the wards. So it will also depend here which schools are going to benefit out of that. But our intention is that we procure more. We want to procure more, but this year we could not procure more than 1,000 because we have got other commitments like the procurement of the grader, which is going to take away over 2 million, and also the procurement of the police vehicle, which is going to take another 1 million or so. So next year, if all this is done this year, we are looking forward to it that more desks, not even, maybe not less than 3,000, we should be able to procure and give it to schools.
Meanwhile, school head teacher Kennedy Kabwe and the pupils could not hide their joy, as this development means timely meals, no firewood fetching, and more time to focus on studying.
Thank you so much. Really, it shows that we have a family who cares. But some people promise and go for good. That you made an effort to come and keep your promise like the word of God says. So I want to thank you so much.
To thank the Member of Parliament for providing us with the electric pot, which will enable an improvement in the preparation of our meals here at Nambala Secondary School. And it will also reduce on the deforestation, as we used to use firewood to supply energy during our preparation for meals.
For the electrical pot, for it will lessen the heavy load of the school in a number of ways. May the good Lord bless you.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take off our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage. ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
What began as a small vision, today it's become a big vision.
Camnet TV 10/6. As we celebrate this day, we say thank you to our viewers and clients for the support and making sure Camnet TV is your #1 station. A new chapter has started as we give you nothing but the best in our programming and reliable news Camnet TV offers through our dedicated management and staff members.
When God is within us, there's nothing that we cannot do.
Happy 60th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the main news. Political activist Charles Mwelwa has observed that the political atmosphere under the United Party for National Development is generally conducive when compared to the previous administration. Mr. Mwelwa is also impressed that political violence among political cadres has drastically reduced. Speaking with Camnet TV, Mr. Mwelwa says political parties need to practice politics of civility, as this is the catalyst to unity and national development. And Mr. Mwelwa has urged Zambia to be positive and work hard as the country implements the International Monetary Fund (IMF) resources amounting to $1.3 billion United States dollars, a 38-month loan program. He says the IMF program was unavoidable given that Zambia's debt profile was not poor, hence creditors were not willing to assist the country.
The truth of the matter is, when you talk about preparing the two, I mean the previous government and the new Dawn government, when you look at the political environment, it is quite stable under this administration, except that other people would want to take advantage of that. They are actually misusing the stability of the political environment, which is very dangerous on the other part, because when the political environment is stable, it does not mean people are supposed to wake up and start insulting one another. When you look at the political violence, if you compare the two, the previous government and this one, definitely any other person would be able to confirm, to say at least it is more conducive under this administration as compared to the previous. Actually coming in with its own challenges. If you were actually buying maybe 2 bags of meal in a month, you are actually going to reduce to 1. Why? Because your salary is actually going to be reduced. So this package that we have actually gotten, the IMF, is something that is, whether we like it or not, it's something that we actually needed like yesterday. Why? Because it's the only thing, no one was ready to do what? To bail us out. So definitely it's something that we actually needed. But let's put it in mind that just like the way when we get loans, it has actually come with its own challenges. We need to be ready for that.
Women in News WIN country manager Imelda Msonda has called on media houses in the country, both public and private, to put up reporting system against sexual harassment in the workplace. Speaking to Camnet News after a workshop aimed at highlighting the situation of sexual harassment in the media, Ms. Msonda notes that a 2020 study conducted by the organization in 8 African countries, including Zambia, shows that statistics for Zambia stand at 51%, showing the seriousness of the situation in the country. She adds that 74% of these cases, however, went unreported for various reasons, among them lack of proper reporting systems, giving the perpetrators power to do the repeat cycle. The WIN country manager adds that this vice should, however, be eradicated if we are to have a motive and productive media force, which is key to serving the society.
So in Zambia, the situation is quite alarming. From the research that was conducted by Women in News, indicates that in Zambia alone, sexual harassment is at 51%. I think that's quite alarming. And from the same research, it also indicates that 74% of those that have been harassed have not been able to report their cases, to any authorities. So, which is even more alarming. So you realize that sexual harassment is quite rampant, and it's now 1 in every 2 women that is affected by sexual harassment. That's about 50%, like I mentioned earlier. So the cases are quite high. So as Women in News, we've been sensitizing the various media organizations and journalists across the country, to enlighten them on what constitutes sexual harassment. And also, we've also been working with media organizations to try and help them to come up with policies, sexual harassment policies, to be able to help, any victims within their workspaces.
Persons with cross-cutting disabilities have been camping at the Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities and continue to demand an audience with President Hakainde Hichilema over alleged mismanagement of resources at the agency. Offices at the Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities, ZAPD, remain closed as persons with disabilities demand the reinstatement of former Acting Director General Nicholas Goma. Thursday, the group was visited by police officers with an intention to chase them from the offices, but they vowed that it will only be done over their dead bodies.
Thursday, 15th September 2022 marks the 35th day in their strong pursuit to restore sanity at the Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities, ZAPD. The message is clear. They want answers as to where the money on the sale of Mukula logs was taken. The group is equally demanding the reinstatement of former ZAPD Acting Director General Nicholas Goma. A check at the premises found several police officers in riot gear who opted to be off camera, engaging the group that has been defying appeals from other disability organizations to vacate the premises.
No one to care about them. So got to forward mabani. Nakula kwene tabakwete na mauche, tabakwete na pakulala. Nefya kuda pintu vya shuba. Waimwe. So no mamandi nepo ningalanda. Mwenjalo mwabale umfwa. Tulefwa echalo cha Zambia. Muri badi tamwa corruption. Tulefwa echalo cha Zambia. Na chofwe bali mana tube independence across the country. Loko tulefwaya so by His Excellency tulemilolela paka mukese mwise mumfofo twalala ndana report na bampera wakufa afe wa moyo asale. I am ready to die for my friends with the persons with disability across Zambia. I am ready to die. Anything can happen to me. Anything can happen to me because I know now most people are up to me and the president. Today we need our president to address us. That's all.
They say not even a crane would dislodge them unless they are addressed by the head of state.
To ascertain that the Central Police have been compromising with the ministry and rose to come here and attack us, to be removed here, minus anything. We have suspected that they have been corrupted. Now, our demand now is that we want the officer who had been here, Mr. Nicholas Goma, and the president, to come here. And on top of that, we want Mukula, the Mukula which they sold, and we want that money to be shared among ourselves. That's the only cardinal point that we need.
For now, the group is banking on the right to freedom of expression, but whether or not their needs will be attended to, we can only wait and see. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
We take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We now get into our international item. Cameroon's mineral-rich eastern region, the site of artisanal gold miners getting expelled from mines by the military, is getting more and more common. In the town of Kambele, for example, landowners are in conflict with Chinese mining companies. In the town located over 400 kilometers east of Yaoundé, residents also look at the past with envy. They regret how cohabitation with the mining companies has turned out. The team of local NGO Folder has made a priority to report the case of alleged land grabbing. However, they decry the authorities' lack of involvement. In other news, Queen Elizabeth II's passing will change some aspects of everyday life in the UK and countries where she was head of state. King Charles III's image will replace hers on stamps and currency, and the national anthem will need to be reworded. Here's a roundup of international news.
In Cameroon's mineral-rich eastern region, this site of artisanal gold miners expelled by the military is getting more and more common. In the town of Kambele, for example, it is landowners who are in conflict with Chinese mining companies. Even before I was born, villagers here were involved in artisanal gold mining. But things have taken another turn with the Chinese. Since they've arrived, we no longer have the possibility to work in our own fields. Firstly, because we've been expropriated, and secondly, no one in the village has the right to benefit from the Chinese economic fallout. Once there were big trees here. It was all a dense forest. Today it has become more like a savanna. In the town located over 400 kilometers east of Yaoundé, residents also look at the past with envy. We no longer have the possibility to operate freely on our lands. Today we are practically slaves of the Chinese, who make our lives harder. We no longer have the possibility to do things as we want in the same way we were used to. The team of local NGO Folder has made a priority to report the cases of alleged land grabbing. Some community leaders have sometimes been imprisoned simply because they wanted to secure their living space, the land. So it is to say that these Chinese companies are settling in these localities in a bit of an anarchic way. But one of the things that worsens the situation is the absence of a land use plan. The problem continues to worsen as inhabitants wait for the state intervention and clear land use regulations. The Folder NGO has vowed to accompany residents in their proceedings.
Hers was a long reign, and many marking her death say Queen Elizabeth II was a constant in their lives. In the Church of England, prayers are said every day for the monarch.
O Lord, show thy mercy upon us and grant us thy salvation. O Lord, save the King and mercifully hear us when we call upon thee.
And while the sentiment remains, the words have changed.
It is a seamless change. The prayers are for the sovereign, for the Queen, and now for the King, King Charles. Because we remember that the sovereign is the supreme governor of the Church of England. The Church of England has a particular role. In due time, God willing, the Church will crown and anoint the new king.
The past week has seen rituals stretching back centuries being played out. But in many ways, the British Queen silently permeated areas of everyday life here and in countries where she was head of state. Money bearing her image will be phased out over a number of years and replaced by that of her son, King Charles III. Anyone under the age of 70 in the UK has only known postage stamps with the Queen's picture on them. For 7 decades, they chronicled her life.
It's not going to be an immediate change, it'll be a gradual change. Her late Majesty, the Queen, approved the stamps for the next 2 or 3 issues, and later this month we have an issue for the Royal Marines. Then we've got another issue coming up for the treasures of Tutankhamun. I think we'll just have to wait and see what the new king decides, and that will be exciting for us all.
There will be other changes too. One theatre in London is expected to alter its name from her to His Majesty's Theatre. The royal cipher on uniforms worn by officials and on royal documents will be replaced. Even at court, the highest lawyers in the land have changed their name from Queen's to King's Counsel.
And the other day I think I signed the first letter, a formal letter about something, and I thought, oh, I better use Casey. Other than that, there is no formal difference.
Many of these changes are symbolic, but they do very much represent a changing of the guard.
We now get into sports news. The fixtures of the Total Energies AFCON Under-20 Egypt 2023 COSAFA qualifier that will be staged in Eswatini from October 7th to 16th, 2022, with the host set to open their campaign against Group A rivals Botswana at the Somololo Stadium are out. The unveiling of the fixtures has revealed that the tournament will start a day later than originally planned as it gets underway, with 11-time winners from Zambia taking on Mauritius in their Group A game at 12 hours on October 7th. That match will also be at Somololo Stadium, which has undergone intensive refurbishment in recent times and is back in use as the main national venue in Eswatini. It is a welcome return for a stadium that has seen many classic clashes down the years and some excellent wins for the home side. The other 2 groups in the continental qualifier will get underway on October 8th when a bumper of 4 matches will be played. Angola takes on Lesotho at the Mavuso Stadium in Group B opener, while later in the day defending champions Mozambique play Seychelles at the same venue 15:30 hours. Group C sees 8-time winners South Africa take on Malawi at the Somololo Stadium before Namibia tackle Comoros at the same venue at 15:30 CAT. The competition will continue in a round-robin format with the last group games to be played on October 12th. COSAFA's Under-20 tournament is the zonal preliminary competition for the Total Energies AFCON Under-20 Egypt 2023 that will be held in Egypt from February 18th to March 12th next year, 2023.